you worked with Spike Lee on School Daze, Do the Right Thing, early stuff on his career. When you walk on the set of School Daze and you're doing Do the Right Thing, did you realize at the time, shit, this guy is really talented?
Oh, are you kidding me? Spike was always had a very demonstrative attitude, knew what he wanted, and I thought he always was doing something very different than I had ever imagined a director would do. First, you know, in the early days, I'd label it as, oh, well, he's just trying to be different. But then I realized his knowledge of film is deep, and the folks that he likes, directors he likes and admires and remembers those shots are, and does homages in different movies to those directors are what he was inspired by. So Spike inspired me because he's so himself, even today. You know, to me, Spike Lee is bigger than the sum of all of his parts because he's committed to a social agenda that he has for African American people because he wants the world to be better for them. So he opens doors for other people. And he opens doors socially and politically that haven't been opened before, but tells his stories in a way that really strike a chord with human beings. So walking on those sets, and at that time, I always knew he had such strong ideas, but yet a guy who has such strong ideas as a director could still be open to me doing something spontaneously that may tickle his fancy and he may like. So I always play games with him and do things that are inspiring to me because I feel them. Oh, I should do that. Why do I feel that way? Well, you got to follow your gut. Do it. And then there's a long pause. All the other actors are like, I don't believe he just went off the script and just said these lines. Spike Lee is sitting there scratching his head for a second with a bullhorn on the ladder. School Daze. Larry Fishburne, I didn't like our lines. Larry said, what are we going to do? I said, why don't we just rewrite it at lunch? He's like, are you kidding me? Spike's going to kill us. I said, yeah, who cares? There's 50, 100 people on the quad, other actors. Are we going to get embarrassed? I'm like, forget it. Let's go rewrite it. We rewrote it. It came out after lunch. Roll sound. Action! Wait a minute! Cut! Wait, who said that? Who said that? I did, Spike. I like it. Say it again. And other times, nah, Giancarlo, too expository. No, say what I wrote. Right? But this is how we find the level of how far can we push the envelope, what rings true for me and what rings true for you as an auteur. Spike's an auteur. Does wonderful work, allows people to be themselves, and if you're brave enough with any human being to be able to speak your mind and not feel threatened by, then you find some new ground, sometimes in between. Sometimes he takes it, sometimes he doesn't. I love what he does.
Let's talk about Godfather of Harlem.
The Godfather of Harlem is a piece I absolutely adore being a part of. Chris Brancato and I have been trying to work together for 20 years. Ever since he was back writing for Las Vegas and a few other shows that I never was able to connect with him on. We had a meeting about doing Narcos. He was there in the first season and did an incredible job with Padilla. They both collaborated on getting that show off the ground. And this particular show came up at the last minute. He didn't think I was available. The guy at Epix, the head of Epix, was a wonderful gentleman, was saying, hey, who's going to play this role? Adam Clayton Powell Jr., historical figure. 125th Street is Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. He was a preacher at Abyssinian Baptist Church. He was a congressman. He signed more bills to this day on the record than any congressman ever in history. The things that he did, you would be shocked by. One is the Minimum Wage Act, the Equal Opportunity Employment Act, the funding for the National Endowment of the Arts. This man was quite amazing. So when I was approached about doing this role, playing with actors like Forrest Whitaker, who's playing Bumpy Ellsworth Johnson, it is his story coming out of prison in San Francisco, coming back to Harlem 10 years later to figure out how to wrestle the drug and prostitution trade away from the Italians. This is a show that I think people are really waiting for as well, because you get a cross-section of what America was like in the 60s politically and also personally, and also through the eye of some great mobsters. Vincent D'Onofrio plays the Chin Gigante in this, and he has an absolutely amazing performance.
He's what we call a talented actor.
Very talented actor. Chaz Palminteri's in our show, Paul Sorvino. So you get a real feeling that we have communities of African Americans, communities of Italians, communities of just poor people, and Malcolm X is in our show. So historically, it is a show about what really happened in Harlem at this particular time. And I play a character that I feel has allowed me to be even looser than many characters I played, because the guy was just such a larger-than-life figure dealing with the Dixiecrats in Washington. You get a sense of where our world was at that time and how it evolved and changed to be something different, which is a mirror for where we're at now in the state of politics and personalities in America right now.
I can't express in words how impressed I am with Vince and what he's been able to do with Better Call Saul, because he makes it look easy when it is so impossible to do what he does. And make this, the writing is so phenomenal, the direction. There's no weak link in terms of what he's done. And he made a spin-off, sorry for going on, but like he took what could be, this amazing show, and then he made a spin-off that's arguably as good. It's unbelievable. What did you think? I just have to ask you about what it's like working with him, and the quality of the writing, everything about Better Call Saul has been, for me, just exceptional.
Well, things come from the top. You have exceptional writing, number one, but you also have a person who is the nicest guy you ever want to meet. He's also humble, and he's also very well thought out in his plans for his show. And, this takes a certain essence of what someone is about. He is about telling a great story. And he's about mining relationships between people and situations that allow that story to be told seamlessly. And allow you, he takes the time. Like, I was never before on a show, I think it was in season 4 or 5 of Breaking Bad, where we're going to move the schedule because we want to take more time really sussing out these episodes. Well, that would make a network or a person like me feel like, oh, they're not ready? What do you mean? Well, they were completely ready, but they wanted to be even more than ready. They wanted to really link up all the things that they had ideas to link up and hadn't figured out yet. So these guys are like, it's a puzzle for us, but they find a way because they put in that time, thoughtfulness. So I never feel like I'm left hanging out to dry when my character has a thought or a feeling, or a stage direction is written that I don't back down and I meet anger with anger, or I meet anger with compassion. But there's something else behind that compassion, because I'm already seeing the route I'm going to go to take you out of your anger and make you do what I want you to do. There's space. Vince allows space to be able to be inspired by the actor and what he's doing with the writing that he's creating. And he's passed this on in his collaboration with Peter Gould, and he's passed it on in my observance of what he does and what they do, allows me to feel trust. So yeah, it feels like a whole lot of brain. How could I think about all those things? But it's very specific, and it's well-mined, and it's well-informed by what's happened before. And that, to me, is really a beautiful thing. You can go back in your head and go to episode 6 of Breaking Bad. Saul Goodman said this. And this really plays into what we want to portray and pull out of his character in 501 of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
And so that is just really being conscious of what you've created before and how to create that link. Not trying to be fantastical, not trying to be try to exemplify something that is not complete already.
Where you're filming right now?
Yes, we started this week.
I was going to say, which is awesome, because I heard it doesn't come back till 2020, and I was like, oh, I understand. The quality of the show, I'm willing to wait for. It's just so well done.
Well, the shows get scheduled as they do, and this question was asked by my lovely Joy, mother of my children, yesterday. Why 2020? Well, we're 2019. It's April. We'll finish in August, September. They'll do the editing until January, and we're in 2020, man. What's the problem?
Listen, I think that oftentimes people are chasing release dates rather than making the best possible version of their story and listen, Game of Thrones waited a year and a half or however long it's been since the last season. People will tune in.
People will tune in. You do have we used to have the problem of network television losing your audience. They change you beyond. I've had that problem a couple of times. They put you on a Monday night first season, and you're doing great, and then or they put you on then you're on Friday when everyone's going out because you just didn't draw those numbers. Those are dictated by, of course, executives who want to draw the best audience out of things. But television's changed since then, you know,
Absolutely.
and people will wait. I have people with Saul who aren't going to watch one episode till all the episodes have aired and done, so they can just watch it all like a movie.
I have to ask you, because I know I'm just about out of time. Is the 5th season the last season? I'm confused. Like, or is there more? Do you?
Well, you know, it's
have they
tricky with
announced it?
Vince because he likes to, you know, if you look at the Breaking Bad model, you know, he said 5 years, 5 seasons, and we shot that 5th season, but it was really 5 and 6.
Sure.
And then he broke it into a 6. So, you know, in telling the story, you know, it's always difficult to find the ending of what is supposed to be, but then there is another ending of what could be, or what you imagine things to be after the ending has concluded.
Yeah, well, the thing that's interesting is that has he told you, and I obviously don't want to know, but has he told you how?
Why are you asking?
how it's all like going? Do you know where like the ending of this thing is, or have you been like just?
No, I don't, and nor do I want to.
Right, so it's script by script for you.
It's script by script for me. I could get an idea of what may happen as an overall, feeling, maybe. Could get a little bit of sense, but hardly even that. I mean, we're so trustworthy as actors that we feel, hey, Peter Gould said it great at a panel last week. What would you like that to happen? Because I'd like us to do them. Oh, what would you like to happen? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I thought about it. I said, wow, that's a diplomatic dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, what's interesting is because you have the script for 501. The script of 501 tells you a lot because the first episode of every season is very informative on certain things.
Precisely.
And so you have more knowledge right now about where ultimately it could be going.
I certainly do. You know, there is a new character coming in, Lalo Salamanca. Obviously, someone I'm going to have to deal with in my travels throughout the show. There will be 6 seasons. It seems like that's the way, the comfortable way to end this show. I am hoping for more of a collaboration in some way as an artist with Bob Odenkirk. I know as my star grows as Gus Fring to be able to handle some of the edginess of the show more and more, and as Gene, comes to Saul Goodman, and he becomes this nefarious lawyer, that I'll have more interaction with him as well. So I'm excited about that.
Completely. My last thing for you, although I have a million other things to talk about, you did an episode of Creepshow.
Yes, I did. Wow.
That's Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, it was really nice to work with Greg Nicotero. I worked with him previously on my 413 episode of Breaking Bad, where it was called Two-Face, where I lose half my face. Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. Yes. Greg is an amazing artist.
Amazing artist. He did that work. Howard Berger came into the application, also designed it with Greg, Academy Award winner. I'm really, really conscious of artistry in any form it comes. Hadn't worked with Greg as a director, known he's very good and respected, and sure enough he is. Very different genre. Yeah, I wanted to go have fun. He called me. He said, you want to come have some fun and do a Creepshow piece? And I was like, oh, wow. I was in Europe, sitting with my girlfriend, and we were trying to find a horror movie, and then he's on my phone saying, hey. I'm like, are you serious? And it's something iconic. George Romero, Creepshow, Adrienne Barbeau was in the original. She came to play with us as well. So I'm excited about that. Didn't realize how draining it can be to go through the emotions of being in fear. Draining. To show the emotions of truly being afraid. To show the intention of truly want to figure a way out of that fear. And of playing with an entity that is just so slimy and so gross and so weird, you know what I mean? Is like a whole different deal.
No, and I've spoken to a lot of actors who say that like they get home from set when they're doing stuff like that and they are tired. Like, I just need to lay in my bed and do nothing.
That's right. Because emotionally you're drawn out, you're drained, you're waiting for something to happen as an actor. When something happens, there's no lights. And Greg was like, because there's a whole thing between me and Tobin, the actor who was my scene partner, about who would have the flashlight. It's written that my character Doc has the flashlight. Well, then we get into the house and Tobin's like, yeah, okay, maybe I should have a flashlight too. No, I don't want the flashlight. Yeah, why do you have a flashlight? So I have the flashlight. Then all the lights go out and the camera rolls and the flashlight I have in my hand is his light and my light. And so Greg says to me, hey, you didn't know you'd be the DP as well, did you? And the DP's like, can the light be a little over here, a little over there? And I'm gonna be standing here with a white card. I'm like, dudes, I got dialogue, man. Yeah, I'll do the best I can to hit that board, hit myself, light the whole scene for everybody.
Well, I was going to say that with digital cameras now, what's amazing about them, but a lot of people don't know, is you can, the lower light situations are much easier to handle with these newer digital cameras.
Yes, they are. Easier to handle and have much more clarity than otherwise. But I always remind the DP, I'm a little more swarthy than other folks in the scene, so therefore the white cards came out. But it was wonderful because I'm a filmmaker. I've made 2 films as a director. First one was called Gospel Hill. The second is called The Show. Both with all-star casts. Both can be seen somewhere on your on-demand channels. But so I know how special it is to be able to figure out what kind of light you want to see on your actors, and I know how particular that is. But to be able to play with Greg Nicotero for 3 or 4 days, where it is again feels like guerrilla filmmaking, feels like advanced filmmaking because of discovery.
Completely.
And that discovery is wonderful.